The F-15 pilot watches the MiG-25 disappear from his radar. The Foxbat is running. Then his warning receiver erupts. The MiG has completed a mile-wide turn through the darkness, locked him from the opposite direction, and launched a missile built to tear strategic bombers apart. In seconds, the hunter has become the hunted. But this fight did not begin with that missile. It began when coalition aircraft first crossed into Iraqi airspace, and the Eagle was sent ahead to make sure nothing survived in their path. January 1991. Coalition aircraft pour into Iraqi airspace in waves. Ahead of the bombers, F-15C Eagles fly a wall across the sky. Nothing with Iraqi markings gets through. Below, Iraqi ground controllers are watching, and tonight they are sending something up. A MiG-25 Foxbat climbs out of a hardened shelter. 20 tons of steel and jet fuel, built around two engines originally designed for cruise missiles. Everything about this aircraft answers one question: how fast can metal fly before it melts? In 1971, a reconnaissance Foxbat streaked over Israel at Mach 3.2. Two F-4 Phantoms scrambled. Neither came close. It escaped by outrunning their missiles, landed with both engines destroyed from the heat, and the pilot walked away. Nothing else could have survived that run. Under its wings hang two R-40RD missiles, each carrying a massive blast fragmentation warhead built to kill strategic bombers. No cannon, no need. Climb, accelerate, fire, leave. Above the desert, an Eagle pilot checks his APG-63 pulse Doppler display. Clean returns across a cluttered sky. No Eagle has ever been shot down by another aircraft. But 2 nights ago, an Iraqi Foxbat killed an American pilot flying a different jet. The record is clean. The sky over Iraq is not. Ground control gives the MiG-25 a heading. Somewhere above, an Eagle is already looking down. No single night unfolded exactly this way, but every move you are about to see was made for real over Iraq. The APG-63 finds the Foxbat first. A fast-moving target is climbing below the Eagle, with the Iraqi desert directly behind it. To an older radar, the aircraft might disappear into the noise reflected from the ground. But the F-15's radar separates metal from sand. The return stays clear. Lock. Inside the Foxbat, a different picture. The Sapphire 25 paints returns, but nothing stable enough to shoot. Ground control fills the gap. Bearing, range, altitude. The pilot narrows his scan to the sector GCI has given him. He does not need to search the whole sky. The ground has already told him where to look. 2 philosophies. Iraqi controllers shape the interception before the pilot finishes it. The Eagle pilot carries a wider tactical picture inside his own cockpit, reinforced by AWACS and a wingman on frequency. Both receive help. The difference is how much each one can do when the help stops. An AIM-7M Sparrow drops from the rail. Semi-active guidance. It rides reflected energy from the APG-63 back to the target. As long as the Eagle holds the track, the Sparrow flies true. The moment the track breaks, the missile goes stupid. A warning tone erupts inside the Foxbat. The Iraqi pilot turns sharply across the Eagle's path. Instead of flying toward or away from the F-15, he moves sideways against the desert below. For a few seconds, the radar can no longer separate the MiG from the ground. The lock breaks. Without the Eagle's radar guiding it, the Sparrow misses. Now the Foxbat does what it was born to do. Both throttles pass the afterburner detent. Twin R-15 engines roar. These are not fighter engines. They are modified cruise missile power plants bolted into an airframe, and they pour thrust at a rate that turns jet fuel into speed faster than anything else flying. The Mach needle slides past 2, then keeps moving. Behind it, the Eagle follows, but every knot closer to its own limit costs more fuel and buys less closure. The Foxbat holds a narrow advantage in this part of the envelope, though using all of it risks cooking the turbines and draining the tanks dry. On the Eagle's display, the contact fades toward the edge of the search volume. Still visible, but no longer shootable. Not outrun the radar, outrun the weapons envelope. Chase and burn fuel, or hold the sweep line. Hold. The contact slips away. It looks like the Foxbat is running. Ground control is already feeding a new heading. A wide arc through the darkness, a long reversal that no agile fighter would need. When the arc is complete, it will be pointing back at the Eagle from a direction no one is watching. Somewhere in the dark, the arc completes. Speed has bled through the turn, but ground control has done its job, placing the Eagle inside a narrow search cone. Sapphire 25 sweeps it. This time, the return is unmistakable. For the first time in this fight, the MiG-25 pilot sees his enemy on his own screen. He locks. He fires. An R-40RD drops from the left pylon. Semi-active, radar-guided, riding reflected energy from the Sapphire back toward the Eagle. Its proximity fuse and fragmentation warhead mean even a close pass could be lethal. Built for high-speed intercepts against large, steady targets, bombers, reconnaissance aircraft, machines that fly predictable lines. The Eagle is none of those things. 40 miles away, the Eagle pilot is scanning for a contact he lost, sweeping the sectors where the Foxbat vanished. Nothing. Then his warning receiver lights up from a bearing he did not expect. Lock. From the wrong side of the sky. He understands in an instant. It did not run. It came back. Chaff bursts behind the Eagle as the pilot turns hard, pulling the F-15 across the missile's path. The R-40 tries to follow, but the Eagle is changing direction too quickly. The warning came just early enough, and the missile cannot make the turn. Close enough to matter. But it passes. For 40 seconds, neither pilot sees the other. Radar returns flicker on glass. A warning receiver hisses. Breathing fills an oxygen mask. That reversal has cost the Foxbat what it values most: separation, fuel, speed. Still fast, but no longer fast enough to make the Eagle irrelevant. Inside the cockpit, the Iraqi pilot knows the math. He has thrown his best punch from his best angle, and the Eagle is still flying. Fuel is bleeding toward minimum recovery. His window is closing. On the other side, no such problem. Energy, missiles, and a target that just announced its position by shooting. The APG-63 locks for the second time. Closer now, slower, unmistakable. One question remains. In the dark, how do you confirm what you are about to kill? Radar track says hostile. Geometry says hostile. Then comes the final check. Every Eagle in the area shuts down its afterburner. The pilot scans the darkness ahead. One flame remains, bright against black sky. Still burning, still running, no longer fast enough. He squeezes. A second Sparrow drops and accelerates. The Foxbat is too close, too committed, too low on energy to build another clean notch. Its pilot begins a turn, trying to pull the same trick that saved him before. But the geometry is wrong. Distance is wrong. Energy is wrong. A PG-63 holds the track. Sparrow holds its reflected signal. It does not waver. Impact. Steel and fire. 40,000 feet above the Iraqi desert. The The machine that frightened America into building the Eagle falls to the fighter that fear created. But this was not the only time an Eagle met a Foxbat over Iraq, and the next encounter would prove this victory was never guaranteed. The Eagle won because it could survive outside its ideal plan. Radar gave the pilot a clean picture when the geometry turned ugly. An airframe built for maneuver let him brake hard enough to defeat a missile designed for bombers. And when the Foxbat returned from an unexpected angle, the Eagle adapted, reacquired, and finished the fight. Call the Foxbat weak, and you have not been paying attention. 9 days after this kind of engagement, Iraq tried something sharper. 2 Foxbats approached a pair of Eagles from different directions near the Iranian border. Pilot accounts describe what happened. Multiple Sparrows failed. At least one burned out on the rail. Both Foxbats completed their mission and landed safely, one of them touching down at Tammuz with an American missile striking the ground just feet from its wingtip. Those 2 Eagle pilots, Dietz and Hegeman, finished the war as Desert Storm's highest-scoring fighter pilots, 3 kills each. But the night the Foxbats came in pairs, they scored 0. America recognized the Foxbat as a serious threat before its true role was fully understood. It was not the agile superfighter NATO first imagined from those massive wings, but a specialized interceptor built to climb fast, fire, and escape. The United States answered that uncertainty with the F-15, a fighter designed not merely to match the Foxbat, but to control the entire air battle. And even against an aircraft holding nearly every advantage, the MiG-25 still came dangerously close. Change the variables, and the outcome changes with them. 2 Foxbats instead of 1, a ground network that has not been degraded by electronic warfare, an R-40 with a seeker optimized for fighters instead of bombers. Any of those shifts, and the Eagle pilot's night ends differently. When Iraqi ground networks went down, the Foxbat lost the system that made its kill window possible. The Eagle lost support too, but kept a far stronger ability to fight alone. That asymmetry decided most of these encounters before the first missile left the rail. Over 1,100 Foxbats were built across 11 countries. No F-15C was lost in air-to-air combat during Desert Storm. The Foxbat challenge helped shape the Eagle. Moscow designed the MiG-25 for a bomber threat that never arrived in the form anyone expected. The B-70 Valkyrie was canceled before a single airframe entered service. Strategic priorities shifted, but fear does not wait for strategy to catch up. It had already set something in motion, a fighter program so successful that no pilot has ever been shot down in its cockpit by another aircraft. One path to victory versus many. The Eagle could reacquire, refire, adapt. The Foxbat had speed, altitude, ground control, and a single clean shot. When everything aligned, devastating. When any piece fell out of place, no backup plan. Just physics working against 36 tons of steel. Which cockpit would you choose? The one with more options or the one with the faster exit? Drop it in the comments. If this changed how you think about Cold War engineering, share it. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next.